something was brewing. I knew that for sure. It had been so quiet for weeks. Not a word from the rogues or the hunters. Not an attack or warning. Nothing. It was like the calm before the storm. It made me anxious, along with many of the other pack members who were aware of what was happening. The children, thankfully, were still oblivious to it all. Other neighboring packs were facing the same situation. It was as if the rogues were playing a big game with us. I had doubts that they were working together with the hunters, but it was hard to believe. Because hunters don't trust werewolves. And why would rogues work with hunters? So many questions were going through my mind, and same was the case with Zayden. He was busy in training the wolves. We talked to other packs, too, about it. I kept in touch with my parents and brother on a regular basis, ever since the attack. I knew if I did not answer their daily call, they would come over and possibly throttle me. I once missed a call from my mother, who then proceeded to blow up my phone and threaten me. That if I did not call her back that instant, I was grounded. And knowing my mother, she would have found some way to ground me. Lips pressed against my head startled me. I had been so engrossed in the papers I was holding. I looked up and saw Zayden standing next to my chair. "You doing okay?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah, fine. Just tired." I set the papers down on the desk and rubbed my forehead and yawned. I was beyond tired. I had not been sleeping well, which I did not mention to anybody. I also did not mention that I had not been eating properly. "You should go lie down for a little while I can finish your paperwork while you rest," he offered. I shook my head. "No, it's fine. I am almost done anyways." I was unsure what was going on between the two of us. It had been 47 days now since the ceremony, and our relationship went from tearing each other's throats out to caring for each other. But he was still not comfortable with sharing his emotions with me. We only talked about work and nothing else. Every time I tried to initiate the conversation other than work between us, he would just flip it off. He didn't want any kind of emotional relationship between us, and it was crystal clear to me. Yes, we cared for each other, enough to not tear each other apart, but I am not sure how long it is going to take for us to reach that level in our relationship, and that is exactly why I wasn't ready to be with him. Zayden gave me a look that said he did not believe me, but he said anyways, "Finish and then go rest. I will tell Emma that you won't be able to hang out with her today. I am fine, really. You don't need to be so worried about me." "You say that as if I can control it. I am going to worry about you, especially now with everything that's going on. So, when finish your work, and then go up to bed. If you don't, then your guards has my permission to carry you to be." There was a muffled "yes" heard through the door, and we both chuckled. All of my guards were always on alert, but few of them were great entertainers. "Fine, but only because I am dead on my feet," he nodded. "I will hold you to that. I will see you later." And then he walked out, leaving me alone, well, as alone as I could be with 10 guards. It had taken some time getting used to, but I had finally fit into the role of Luna. I had stopped a number of fights. I visited the school every day and spoke to the children. I visited the daycare almost daily. I showed up to the meetings when I had free time, and I had piles of paperwork to go through. I finished with the papers I was working on before I was interrupted. I pushed back from the desk and stood. I turned off the lights and locked the office door. "Sorry to crush your dreams, Jake,"
but no man handling me today. I could not help but laugh at his pouting face. Your mate deserves a trophy for putting up with you, I said. Hey, I laughed louder. Sorry, but it's true. You are a handful. Only sometimes, he mumbled. I snorted. More like most of the time. You are a special one and not in a good way. He stuck his tongue at me. Real mature. I teased. My other guards seemed to be having a hard time holding in their laugh. Apparently, they had never guarded someone who teased them endlessly. Well, those I interacted with, which was really only few of them. The others just stood there emotionless. I kicked off my heels the moment I entered my bedroom. I unbuttoned my shirt and tossed it in the laundry basket. My slacks were next. I got dressed in pajama shorts and one of Zayden's t-shirts. I crawled into bed, but for the life of me, I could not sleep, no matter how much I tried. I read, counted sheep, just closed my eyes, listened to soft music, but nothing worked. I don't know, but something doesn't feel right. As if something bad was going to happen.
Seated in my bed, I sigh. Not wanting to stay in bed any longer, I stood up and walked towards the balcony door. Opening the glass door, I walked out. The night breeze made my entire body shiver. Embracing myself, I sigh and stood near the edge. Zayden was right. It was a bit cold. Leaning against the balcony rail, I looked down. Our room had a forest view. Tiredly, I plopped my arm in my hand. What could I find behind that forest? I said to no one in particular but myself. Another sigh left my lips as my back started aching. Maybe it was due to sitting for long hours. I needed to rest, but my mind did not want to. Thinking about what to do, an idea suddenly pops in my head. It may be a bad one, but there would be no problem in trying, right? Chuckling, I head back in and shut the door. Taking my slipper off, I opened my bedroom door. The hallway was eerily quiet. I know, I promised Zayden that I would rest and not wander around, but something got into me. Biting my lips, I quietly closed the door and started walking down the hallway. I need to find answers, and there's only one place I can find them, only if I am lucky. I dismissed my guards already, so there shouldn't be any problem. No one will find out. Zayden mentioned earlier that there was an enormous library on the second floor, one that had millions of books. He briefly gave a description of the place and where it was located when I first came here, but I barely got the time to visit the library. My curiosity got the best, and I have to explore that now. I needed to find answers. So here I was, heading to the library, making sure no one was around. I peered around the corners, finding the familiar two enormous dark wooden doors. I quietly pushed them. Making a creaking sound, I cursed. I did not want it to let my guards know that I am here. Otherwise, Jake would come here and manhandle me, like Zayden instructed him. Once the doors shut, I sighed in relief. Leaning against the doors, I rest my head. Opening one of my eyes, I looked at the place. A smile broke on my face as I saw around me. Zayden did not lie when he said this place was enormous. Rows and rows of shelves and tables filled the entire wooden room. Walking, I started moving my eyes around to the point I was feeling dizzy. How many books did this place have? As I kept looking around, I somehow ended up on the second floor of the library. I gasped as I looked down, leaning my body the most I could do to look up and down. I noticed that there were a total of 3 floors full of books to explore. Excitement rushed in my body as I skipped the halls. Passing by, I noticed that some shelves looked dusty. Did no one ever come here? Dusting my hands, I kept walking until a certain row of books got my attention. Crooking my head to one side, I looked at it, my eyes falling on a book of Guardians of Stars. Feeling like a moth being pulled to the flame, I moved my hand unconsciously, reaching as high as I could. I felt the cover, and I smiled and pulled the heavy book out of its dusty space. I decided to read it. Carrying it with both arms, I looked for a spot. The fireplace on a corner looked like a comfy place to read. Unaware of my surroundings, I took a seat on the couch and pulled my legs up as a stand. I opened the old, dusty book with my delicate fingers. I started turning the pages. This book seemed more older than me. Some letters were no longer even visible. Reading carefully, I checked the contents. I was so engrossed in the book, I didn't thought much about time. Slowly, I started feeling my eyes a bit heavy, and I dozed off until my hand fell on one side. Something warm felt at my cheek as I turned over. Scrunching my face, I slapped that something away. I did not know what it was, but I did not care. Deciding to ignore it as my body ached with every move, I suddenly feel something over my body. What was that thing? Groaning. I opened my heavy eyes, just to be greeted by darkness. How long did I sleep here? Sitting up carefully, I looked over my body. A red blanket was over my now warm body. Who put it here? I frowned as I looked around, wondering who it might be. Deciding it's best to get back, I stand up and grabbed the book. Folding the blanket and leaving it on the couch, I headed back to the same row I found the Guardians of Stars book. Trying to reach for the spot, I tiptoed high as I could, but I was not tall enough to reach back, especially since the book was quite heavy. Seriously? I groaned in frustration. Annoyed, I lift my arm higher when suddenly someone abruptly takes the book and put it back. Tensing up, I shut my eyes, begging not to be who I think that might be. Cursing, I groan internally. Shouldn't you be in your room? Shouldn't you be in your room? The rough voice of a certain male I did not want to hear reached my ears. I could feel him close behind. Gulping, I mustered some courage and turned around slowly, the hand above my head and body, leaning dangerously close to me. Hover over my tense body. I lifted my head to look at him. His eyes played with dangerous darkness. As he looked down at me, he was wearing an open shirt and some pants that hung way too low. My eyes wander slowly to his toned and muscular body, V-line forming down below. Gulping, I felt my legs quiver as this enormous man looked down at me, without a word. My eyes went up and locked with his. Moving closer to me, I backed the up against the shelves. Books poked my back, but I did not care. All I had on my mind was the man who was dangerously sexy and standing close to me. He is no doubt a righteous alpha, who wants nothing but best for his pack, but with me, ugh, he's so infuriating. Damn him. Sometimes I want to strangle him, but at the same time, I also want to kiss him. Oh, moon goddess, why do I have such a bipolar mate? Distracted by him, I heard a door slammed somewhere in the library. Squealing in surprise, I unconsciously reached for his chest. I felt like they caught me doing a deed that I wasn't aware of what I was doing. My eyes kept looking towards the stairs, waiting for whoever came in to show their face. But no one came up. Nervously, I started leaning closer to him, his scent comforting, giving me a sense of safety and comfort. My mind ignored his presence completely. Suddenly, a warmth started invading my thoughts as I lifted my head and they stayed stunned. His face was inches away from mine. I could feel his hot breath against my lips as his eyes kept staring down at me. He had a soft look that I could not comprehend. Why was he staring at me like that?
Moving, he puts his other hand lower to my other side, caging me like a bird. I just looked at him, waiting for him to do something, just anything. Even I am not sure what exactly is it that I want from him. Why was this making me feel so comfortable? As a comfortable silence got between us, he reaches for my face and removes a rogue hair strand and tucked it behind my ear. His big, calloused fingers softly grace my skin, leaving a trail of goosebumps as he puts my hair behind my ear. I licked my lips unknowingly to moist them, and Zayden sharply inhaled as his eyes, full of fire, lowered to my lips. I still had my hands on his chest, leaning closer to me. I lowered my face and stared at his chest. Eyes wide, I looked at the long scar on his chest. Frowning, I moved my fingers slightly, following the scar. Please tell me, what happened? I whispered so softly that I thought he didn't hear me. Not hearing a reply, I looked at him again. What happened, Zayden? I whispered again. He sighed, reaching for my wrist as he grasps it, stopping my movement. Was he insecure or uncomfortable? I bit my lips as his hands softly squeezes my wrist. Moving his eyes back to my own, he intensely stares at me. There was something strange to him. But as my mind wanders, he brings my hand to his lips and tenderly kisses every knuckle. That took me by surprise. I was not expecting that. Zayden have never treated me so tenderly, but I kind of liked it. If he initiated anything between us like right now, I might let my guard down and let him have his way with me. Realizing what was happening, he stopped and released my hand. Then he turned around and left me with the speed of wind, leaving me standing there as he ran back to goddess knows where. As quickly as possible, I followed him, but he closed the door with a slam. My beating heart was slamming against my chest. What was that? I mutter in shock as I hold my head in disbelief. Next day, closing the files, I massaged my eyes. I was investigating some terrains on the outskirts of the pack. We needed more crops, and that place was perfect, giving a glance at the papers once again on the table. I decided it's best to check some other maps, because using lands that are not the part of our territory might be problematic because of the ongoing rogue situation. Grabbing my overcoat, I headed towards the library. Turning around the corner, I noticed a few omegas and other wolves coming out of the hallway that takes you to the guest room. Stopping, I hid behind a wall. Is everything going to be okay? Yeah, but no buts. Once she wakes up, take her to the healer, and after that, to the house near the pharmacy. It's been cleaned for her. From now on, she will stay there. Okay. And one more thing. You are not allowed to say a word about this to anyone. Not even the beta female or the Luna. But what if she finds out on her own? No one will. Just move her to the house that I told you about as soon as possible. Okay. I scrunched my face in confusion. Who were they referring to? Shaking my head, I decided to let it slide. Maybe someone was injured. Lifting my eyes back at them, I watched as they turned on a corner and disappeared. Pinching my nose, I headed towards the library. Finally reaching the enormous wooden doors again, I opened them up. Clicking sound resonated down the hallway. Someone need to fix these damn doors. Looking around, I notice it's empty, just like last night. Last night's incident flooded my mind,
as I roamed around, looking for the books I need. Zayden didn't open the door last night, and I had to sleep in other bedroom. I don't know what's his deal. Sometimes he's caring, and sometimes he's cold towards me. Sometimes his eyes are harsh, as if I am a stranger. And sometimes his gaze is so intense that makes me feel vulnerable and exposed to him. Sometimes he wants me to sleep with him, and sometimes he would treat me as if I am nobody. I don't know if our relationship will ever reach to the point when I will mark him, or will we ever get a chance to complete our mating. I have already faced my heat 2 times. One time it was when I was admitted in hospital. Due to the dose of wolfsbane and other medicines, it was bearable. There was one more time, when my second heat hit me. I was cross with him at that time, so I injected myself with wolfsbane. But I am not sure how long I can do this. I thought that we reached to the point in our relationship that we could trust each other. But every time I start to think like this, he proves me wrong. At least I can say that. He doesn't hate me. Not entirely. But then again, what's stopping him? I kept thinking about it last night, but only he can answer those questions. Finally, finding the book I was looking for, I got comfortable on the couch and started working. Luna? I heard a voice calling from behind me. I was so engrossed in my work that I lost the track of time. Luna? Groaning, I turned my head towards the person who interrupted me in the middle of my work. I don't like being disturbed, especially when I am doing something important. I looked behind and found my favorite guard with a concerned look. "What?" I asked. "Nothing. You just had us worried. You didn't join us for lunch. This is not you. You always join us for the lunch," he said, more like stated, as he looked at the floor, finding it more interesting. Getting up, I stretched. Me neck and my back cracked at the movement. "What time is it?" I asked, rubbing my face. "It's almost evening," he mumbled. "What, really?" I asked, surprised that today, Zayden didn't come to call me, or even mind-linked me to have lunch together like past few days. He would drag me out so that we can have at least lunch and dinner together. "Why didn't you tell me earlier? We couldn't find you. We left for lunch hoping you would join us with Alpha, but you never came." I nodded. "Was your Alpha there?" He nodded yes in answer. "Something's not right. I have a feeling that it's about last night." "Is he mad at me?" I only asked a simple question. Scoffing, I started collecting all the papers, and then descended the stairs. When I saw him, I stopped halfway through. I saw him talking to the Omegas, who were guarding the door, same one that I saw earlier before. I frowned. What is happening? Sensing my presence, with eyes wide and a shock face, Zayden looked at me as if I caught him red-handed. But then, he composed himself in just a fraction of seconds. He was staring up at me as I looked down at him from the stairs. My eyes moved down at his body. His hair were in a disheveled state, and his shirt was half tucked in. He looked bad. He's always composed in front of all the pack members. Is there something wrong? Was there another attack? Why is he behaving like this? As if he's hiding something. Something that I should know he's not telling me. Ignoring me. He looked away. That's not new for me. But Zayden never walk in this kind of state, especially in front of the Omegas. I looked towards my guard, who was intently watching my movements. I raised my eyebrows at him in question, and he looked down at the floor as if he's guilty of something. Is he hiding something too now? Rhea is pacing in my mind, knowing that something's up. But what? Why does it feel like thousands of needles are repeatedly stabbing me and my body? My heart is beating fast as if telling me to do something, to take some sort of action. "Good evening," the Omegas whispered with a bow. "Good evening," I mumbled. 2 Omegas were next to him. Xaden rarely interact with them. Why was he here again? Looking at him, I find a book in his hands. Frowning, I looked up at him. His eyes no longer on me, but on the book. But I could tell that he was not reading it. He was just avoiding me. "Luna," Jake said from behind me, "we need to go. You have a meeting, remember?" Nodding his way, I descended down the stairs and left the hallway. I could feel his gaze on me as Jake closed the doors. As the time went by, Xaden became more distant, and I got busier in my duties. But there was this feeling inside my chest that was constantly telling me that something's up. Something extremely wrong. And I was constantly ignoring it. I was trying to concentrate on the meeting, but my mind was already in conflict. Hearing the councilmen that it was time to end the meeting. I stood up from my place thanking them and decided to head for a walk in the garden. Smiling at the Omegas on my way and other servants, I headed outside. Thankfully, Xaden hasn't asked me to stay at the pack house. I would have gone mad. I was already feeling suffocated from all the work just being locked up in my office or library. Sighing loudly, I rubbed my temple and sensed a small headache formed. "Luna?" I heard someone call. Turning around, I found Jake carrying a big basket. "Oh, hi," I smiled. "Are you okay?" he asked. I frowned at his question. "Yes. Why do you ask?" I asked him, confused. "Nothing," he mumbled. Excusing himself, he left me alone. I shrugged off the weird conversation. Turning back to the garden, I decided to look for a spot to rest. The smell of flowers was calming and refreshing. After this small rest, I would have to go back to the office to complete rest of the work. Finding shade under an apple tree, I sat and leaned against the trunk. Sighing, I closed my eyes and unexpectedly dozed off. After some time, feeling movement, I yawned and lazily opened my eyes. It was dark and cold. Too tired to keep my eyes open, I leaned my head to the person carrying me, feeling a warmth that was making me comfortable. Realizing that a person was carrying me, I snapped up and almost fell from the person's grasp. Yelping in surprise, I circled my arms around the person. Stopping, I pant nervously. The person did not move, but I could feel his body tense up. Glancing at the person, I gasped. "Xaden?" I said, startled. With a serious look, he glanced at my way. His eyes showed no emotion as I frantically find a way to get down from his arms. "Please put me down," I said, lowering my head. Growling softly, he let me go, dropping me down. I groaned as my buttock hits the floor. "Why did you do that?" I retorted. Lifting my head, I find Xaden cleaning his hand with a cloth. "Waste of time," he mumbled as he threw me the piece of cloth. Stunned at his behavior, I watched him leave. What was that all about? Hello, everyone. Do you also think that Xaden is hiding something? If yes, please comment in the box. Thank you. Happy reading. Finally reaching our bedroom. I tried to open it quietly, but it would not budge. I guess Xaden still don't want me here. Hurt, pain, emptiness. That's what I am feeling from his behavior. He clearly doesn't want me, but I thought our relationship have improved enough to tolerate each other's presence. Turning around, I entered another bedroom. It was past midnight, and I was still awake. Closing a book, I sigh and rub my eyes. Why could not I fall asleep? Deciding to get some fresh air, I walked to the balcony. The cold night breeze made me sneeze instantly. Taking a seat, I opened my book again and continued reading. But my small concentration did not last long. Suddenly, I felt as if my whole body was burning in pain, as if thousands of needles were trying to pierce my body and soul. The Rhea was feeling the same. She was howling in my mind. I can't be in my heat. This isn't how you feel during the heat. This feeling is something else. Maybe my body desire for my mate. I don't know. That's the only possible reason I could think of. Somehow I dragged my body towards his bedroom door. Hearing a strange sound, I looked up. The doors were closed. Is he in pain too? Is he feeling the same way as me? What was that? Listening intently, I looked around. Nothing happened again, so I shrugged it off. But then the same moaning sound was heard again. I frowned. Was someone in trouble? Peeking through the doors was my worst mistake. As I leaned down, I gasped and couldn't cover my eyes. Listening to the moans intensified. I peeked once again just to be sure. I gasped loudly and turned away. Inside his bedroom, Zayden was having sex with another woman. So this is why I was feeling like this. My mate was cheating on me. Hurrying back in, I shut the door and closed the curtains, shocked by what I saw. I started feeling nauseous. Covering my mouth, I tried to breathe and calm down. I was feeling bothered by what he was doing. Unable to hold my nauseous stomach, I ran to the bathroom and started throwing up. Standing up as I hauled myself from the toilet seat, I reached under the faucet and washed my face. Looking at my pale face in the mirror, I cursed myself and my fate. What was wrong with me? It was his life. He clearly mentioned that he never wanted a mate. I am only here to be his Luna, not his mate. So that's why he's been avoiding me. But I bear his mark. I am his destined mate. This is an insult to our bond. A bond that was chosen by the moon goddess herself. Unable to hold any longer, I took out the syringe from my bag and injected it in my left vein. My eyelids started to feel heavy. I no longer cared about myself. This was the only way to release Rhea from this pain, and myself too. I am sorry, Rhea. The last thing I heard was her whimpers of pain. Then I drifted off to sleep. The next morning at the breakfast, I immediately noticed that a woman was sitting at the Lorcan spot to my mate's left. I inhaled sharply and ignored them as I sat at my spot, which was on his right. I greeted all the pack members morning, and without waiting for Zayden, I started my breakfast. It was suffocating for me to just sit beside him and pretend as is. Everything is fine. That woman accidentally dropped her folk that was loaded with strawberries and let out a mewl of surprise and immediately dropped to the floor. I could not see what she was doing, but I heard slurping noises and small moans. Suddenly she got up and sat back in her chair and wiped away a trace of strawberries from her lips with her tongue seductively. Zayden looked at her and smiled. He was giving her his full attention. Since I arrived from the hospital, I had a routine of eating every morning and night with Zayden. It was the usual. Eat and stay quiet. We barely divulged in any sort of conversation, and that was fine for me. But today, I was feeling sick by just seeing him. And he just sat there as if he has done nothing wrong. I will be excusing myself, I said, standing up. I had barely eaten. You haven't eaten your breakfast, Riven, Zayden said, without looking my way. I glanced at him. I needed to leave. I was in desperate need of a run. My wolf wanted out. Somehow, I managed last night by injecting small dose of wolfsbane to ease the pain. But right now, I needed to run away from him. This bastard excuse of an alpha. The small amount of respect that I had in my heart for him dissipated last night. And I think there's only one way to ease my pain. Until now, I was doing everything I was told. I was trying to be a good Luna for the pack, for kids of the pack, and for him. I was busy day and night, just so that I can share his burden. But not anymore. I tried everything I could. But last night he crossed all the limits. I can't take this anymore. You haven't eaten breakfast, Riven, Zayden said without looking my way. I glanced at him. I needed to leave. I was in desperate need of a run. My wolf wanted out. She was clawing inside me. She wanted blood. Blood of this woman who's sitting next to Zayden. I want the blood of both of them. Somehow, I managed last night by injecting small dose of wolfsbane to ease the pain. But right now, I needed to run away from him. And I think there's only one way to ease my pain. Until now, I was doing everything I was told. I was trying to be a good Luna for the pack, for kids, and for him. But not anymore. I can't take this anymore. Riven, what's wrong? Nothing. I just need fresh air. I am going out. Maybe I should confront him, but I am afraid I am not going to like his answer. I just need to get away from him and his lies. He nodded, without looking at me. Emma? She looked at me and smiled. What's wrong? My heart is breaking for leaving her like this. She's the only person here who understands me better than anyone, even better than my own mate. Nothing. I just wanted to say goodbye. Then I turned around to get away from all of them. I didn't wait for her answer, but I don't care anymore. I don't want to care. He hurt me. He hurt my wolf. Hell, the way I saw it, this was a loud rejection as if he'd spoken the words himself. I shifted into my wolf, not caring about anything anymore. My wolf was even more agitated and more pissed than ever. Sure, she was hurting, but I think we'll get over it as long as we have each other. I don't want anyone else now, not him, not his pack, although they are not the ones at fault. But he deserves it. I don't want the title of Luna. What I wanted, what I deserved, and the only thing I asked for was some damn respect and love from my mate. The one person, the only person who was never supposed to hurt us. Just hurt us in ways we both never imagined possible. I didn't give him time to make the first move. I just ran, like I'd never run before. My heart was aching from his betrayal. My wolf was howling. My head was throbbing. Shit, even my lungs felt like they were on fire. The tears were blurring my vision, but I bit them back and kept pushing forward. I don't want to waste my tears for such a pathetic person. He doesn't deserve anything from me. I didn't give myself to anyone because I waited for my mate. But now I feel stupid for waiting for him. I don't know how long I was going. My muscles were burning, and my legs were slowly becoming numb with pain. My organs felt like they were failing me, one after the other. My stomach, my lungs, my heart, my entire body was on fire, pain everywhere. I don't know how long I would be out here. All I knew was that I wasn't coming back anytime soon. Suddenly, my legs give out, and I came crashing down. My face and upper body taking most of the impact as I collided with the hard soil. My wolf whined, but like we welcomed the physical pain. anything to distract from the betrayal and hurt that we will feeling through the bond with our supposed mate. My wolf's paws glided through the dirt. My blonde complexion stood out against the dark night. I looked back, worried that he would chase me, and when he would find me, it wouldn't be pretty. I shifted and sat up. The world was a-spinning. My mind too drained and empty to actually make a coherent thought. If it did, it would probably make me aware of the new scent that was surrounding me, telling me that I wasn't on his territory anymore. My wolf yipped with happiness when she found a river. Something to drink and to mask my scent with. I quenched my thirst and rolled in the water. I continued running off in a different direction, trying to confuse him if he followed my scent. I was miles away from his pack, and I paused briefly to rest my paws. I laid my head on the cold ground. A loud howl echoed through the wood, and a shiver ran through my spine. I didn't have to fight my wolf from going towards my mate. That's why I forced myself to run into the woods. I quickly dodged trees and jumping over stumps. The wind felt amazing against my fur. I remembered how much I loved to exercise and run. I knew that I was going to go back eventually, to face him, but I wanted to be alone for a while. For the first time, in a long time, I feel free. I don't have to care about him anymore. I don't have to hide my wolf. Suddenly, my side burst with pain as a slightly smaller red wolf tackled me. I easily stood to a stance and snarled at him, warning him to back off. We growled and circled each other. I could tell by his scent that he was a rogue. We both lunged at each other, obviously not wanting to back down. I tackled him to the ground, snarling at him, while he was underneath me. I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to be left alone. 2 other wolves appeared and lowly growled at me. Since I was distracted, the wolf quickly turned the tables, and I was underneath him. I went instantly to an attacking stance. More wolves appeared, and I was surrounded by at least 20 rogues. They all circled me, but I didn't back down. I'd rather be dead than to submit to them. 2 wolves bit into my leg. I turned around and clawed at them. They backed up. A couple of wolves jumped on my back. I ran full force into a tree and slammed their bodies against it. I heard more growling and snarling from the other wolves as they fell to the ground beside me and whimpered. I growled menacingly at all the wolves. I charged at the nearest wolf and sank my teeth into his neck. I ripped my head from side to side. A wolf rammed into my side, freeing him from my clutches. It was already late. He was already dead. The remaining wolves all attacked me at once. Some jumped on my back and ripped out small pieces of my skin. The others were going for my front and back legs. I ended up killing 4 wolves, but they had a more powerful group. Every time I killed one of their wolves, it seemed like 2 more appeared and attacked me. It was all over when a human rogue stabbed me with the silver knife, then followed by a syringe to my neck. All the wolves stopped attacking me and backed up. A wolf wobbled, trying to fight the familiar feeling of being paralyzed. I forced myself to walk, trying to escape. I eventually fell to the ground in defeat. My eyes remained open, and I was still awake. I hated the fact that I was not unconscious, like I was supposed to be. Because I know that they don't have great intentions, and I will hate myself if my eyes are open to witness all of it. A man appeared in my vision. "So, you're still awake, huh?" His evil laugh filled the air. The wolves shifted and began to laugh as well. It sounded like hyenas laughing in the air. Tell him to get the chloroform. I heard him saying to someone. Just like that, I was being kidnapped. I struggled, but I let out a long howl to alert someone. Shut up! The man hissed and kicked my snout. My wolf whimpered from the impact. A dark cloth was pressed against my snout. I felt myself shift unwillingly. Then I went into the darkness. I was awoken by a kick to the stomach. My stomach erupted in pain. I then remembered when I was kicked in the face, and it felt numb. I put my hand up to feel my face. I also looked at my side, and luckily, my wound healed from the knife. Get the fuck up! The man that kidnapped and stabbed me yelled. I raised my half-body up with my arms and looked at the man. His back was faced towards me. His long black hair flowed to his shoulders. He turned towards me and smirked at me. His blue eyes pierced through my soul, and I did not like the vibe that he gave off. Nice body. He winked at me. I growled at him, and he just chuckled. I realized that I was completely naked from my shift. Fuck you. I sneered at him. What's your rank in the Blood Eclipse pack? He demanded to know. I am not from his pack. I lied coldly. I mustered up the coldest look that I could give him. Then you are useless. He growled and was about to head for the door but stopped and turned around. Why is your wolf different? I don't know. He scoffed. Lying beach. Well, of course, he didn't believe me this time. Wow, this guy is really smart. When I actually lied to him, he believed me. But now that I am telling the truth, he didn't. Perfect. He kicked me once again and walked up the wooden stairs to the door. The door shut, and I heard it locked. I assumed that we were in a basement. I stood up and observed the room. It was dark and musty. I could hardly see. There was a single light bulb that dimly lit up the room, and a long table was over on the other side of the room. The cold, rough concrete floors hurt my feet. I tried to walk over to the stairs that led me to my freedom, but the shackles on my bare ankles prohibited moving. I sighed and sat down, resting my head against the stone wall. A door opened, allowing more light to be in the room. A different man descended down the stairs. Hey, he softly said. What do you want? I rudely said. I am sorry. His words caught me off guard. Excuse me? I asked. This is my father, not me. He is a monster. He said, and handed me a plate of food. I gladly accepted it, not before making sure that it was free from any kind of chemical or wolfsbane. Help me out of here, I begged. He looked away from me with regret in his eyes. I can't. He will hurt her, he whispered. What do you mean? I asked. My mother, he said. Damon. A loud voice was heard. The man's warm blue eyes widened. I have to go, he said. He ran up the stairs and shut the door. I looked at the food, and my stomach growled hungry. It felt like hours went by when my next visitor came. The man that kidnapped me walked down the wooden stairs and went over to the table. He grabbed multiple syringes and walked over to me. I am surprised but also curious. Why does the venom not make you go unconscious? It can put alphas to sleep in a matter of seconds. He talked to me as if I was going to answer him. I ignored him and just smirked at him instead. No talkin'? Okay, he said, and tried to put the syringe in me. But before he could inject me, I knocked it out from his hands. It shattered on the ground. Okay then, you asked for it, he said. He walked over to the table and pulled out a gun. My eyes widened. I guess this is how I am going to die. Okay then, he said. He walked over to the table and pulled out a gun. My eyes widened in shock. He pulled the trigger. My screams filled the air as I clutched my leg in pain. "Have fun bleeding," he said, and went upstairs. I hissed in pain as I moved the leg to get a better view of it. The bullet had gone completely down. Tears left my eyes due to the pain. I shook as I placed both my hands on opposite sides of the bullet wound and wished that somehow it will heal. I whimpered in pain, and more tears left my eyes. Suddenly, my palms heated, and I felt the pain go away. When I removed my hands, I was confused, because somehow, it felt as if I managed to heal myself, and the pain was gone. Yes, wolves can heal fast, but not this fast. Did I do this? Did I just heal myself? Maybe I am hallucinating, but I'm not sure how it happened. Time seemed to go by slowly, because there was nothing to do. I rested my extremely tired self against the stone wall, and my eyes fluttered. I was awoken from my nap when the man came over to me and somehow managed to inject vampire venom into my veins. I was paralyzed. He grabbed my body and lifted me. Then he walked over to the table and placed my body on the table and grabbed a needle. He hooked up the something to a machine and jabbed the needle in my arm. He was drawing blood from me. "What are you doing?" I hoarsely questioned. "Your blood is special, and obviously your wolf is strong and different. I could use it to make my wolf strong and immune," he said. "You can't do that. It doesn't work like that. Surely you're weak in science." I told him, finding my voice. "Shut up. If it doesn't work, then the world would be fine with one less she-wolf," he said. And then he strapped me down to the table. He left, and I was by myself. I tried to fight against the restraints, but the venom was working great. As the blood slowly drained from my body, I became weaker. I fought hard to just keep my eyes open. I was almost gone from the blood loss, but then the restraints seemed to be lifted. "We have to go," a person said, and lifted me from the table. "Damon," I muttered. "Shh." He hushed me and walked slowly up the stairs, carrying me in his arms. I soon felt the nice feeling of a cushion. "I'll get clothes. Don't move," he said, and walked away. I weakly opened my eyes and saw that I was in a room. Damon quickly came back and gave me food. "Here, eat this," he said. After I ate a little, I felt good enough to get dressed. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded to know. "My father is an evil bastard. He left the house, so I came back to get you. He thinks somehow he can use your blood. He was curious as to why you weren't unconscious from the venom." He explained. "Dumbass, that's because I am a high-ranking wolf," I said, and stood up. "Wait." He sounded desperate. "I need your help," he said. "For what?" I asked. "I need to get my mother out of here. I also need to join a pack. Maybe one of yours," he further explained. "Where is she?" I asked. "Follow me," he replied. I slowly followed him to a different room. He tried to open the door, but it was locked. He broke down the door without even trying. I gasped as I saw a frail but beautiful woman who looked like she has not eaten in weeks. There were bruises and cuts that decorated her fragile body. "Oh my," I managed to say. "Yeah, it's bad," Damon replied. "Let's go." Damon gathered his sick mother in his arms. He kissed her forehead. "Don't worry, Mother, everything will be okay," he whispered in her ear. I could tell that he cared very much about her. Since we were on the second floor, we had to walk down a flight of stairs. As we neared the front door, it opened, and Damon's father was there. He smirked. "Damon, I use it to think better of you, but you are nothing but a piece of shit. just like your useless mother." His father said, "You bastard," Damon has said towards his father. Memories of him shooting me became very vivid. I wanted revenge. I wanted his blood. But I also wanted to get out of here. But I knew that it was important to make him suffer for all the bad things he had done. Not only to me, but for all the pain he put Damon and his mother through. Nobody deserves such a treatment. I stood in front of Damon and his mom. I was beyond pissed at this moment. I was shaking uncontrollably in anger.
Damon's father raised his eyebrows at me and smirked.
"Little wolf, what do you think you are going to do?" He taunted me. He stalked towards me with a smirk. My blood boiled. My hands slightly began to turn red, and I felt the heat radiating from them. I raised my hand out, and fire shot out from them, and the flames engulfed him. He was yelling and screaming in pain. He stumbled out on the porch. And now I was the one who stalked towards him. He flailed his arms out trying to stop the fire, but he ended up falling off the porch instead. Unimaginable anger consumed me. A new feeling inside me seemed to take my body. I stared at him with such hate, and the flames on his burning flash became hotter and turned light blue in color. His scream felt like music to my ears, and soon he stopped moving. I turned to look at the house. I wanted it all to burn. I wanted everything to burn. I darkly stared at the wooden house, and soon the roof was on fire. It all seemed to spread quickly, and the whole house was burning. I looked around at all the tents, and one by one they caught on fire too. The rogues running, trying to escape, caught on fire, and soon I was on fire. I watched everyone scream in pain or horror, but I felt no pain. I felt nothing as my eyes beamed blood red with full of hatred. I hadn't realized that I blacked out until Damon snapped his fingers in front of me. I came to a realization and stood from the dirt ground. I blinked a couple of times to clear the balk spots in my vision and looked at him. "What happened?" I asked. "I could ask you the same thing," Damon said, observing the area. I looked around at the same village, and it was all burnt to the ground. The only thing that stood was a tall metal pole, which was also black in color. "How did you do that? No regular wolf shoots fire out of their hands," he said, while still holding his mother in his arms. I sighed and looked at my hands. How am I supposed to answer that? Even I don't know. How did I do that?
I don't know. I am not sure. Are you a witch? He asked cautiously. What? No, I am purely a wolf. I don't think so. What do you mean? I am not a wolf. No, your scent, it's changing. Damon, I think you're in shock. Hell, I am too. But we can discuss this later. First focus on getting us out of here. Okay, but where are we going? I have been a rogue almost all my life. I can't cross a pack's boundary. You saved my life, so I will ask the Alpha to let you join our pack. But remember, since you will be joining a pack, and it will definitely be mine, you can't even tell my mate what happened here. At least, not until I am sure. I told him. Who is your mate? He asked. Alpha Zayden. His eyes widened in shock, which is the most expected reaction. I have made the conclusion that all the shifters in the world knew who he was, and I was right. Even though we are far away from my pack, Alpha Zayden is still a name to fear for all shifters. He has a mate? How come? And it's you, out of all the people. He calmly freaked out. Oh my God, you are the Luna, he said. I am going to die. He is going to kill me, he said in panic. Damon, why would he kill you? And the whole pack did not come. It's just me, I said. No. You don't understand. For starters, what my father did to you. And I saw you with no clothes. He whispered the last part, looking around the woods line with blushed cheeks. I laughed my ass off. Relax, it's fine. You saved my life. You should be grateful. I calmed him. Is it true then? He asked. My face turned into a puzzled expression. Is he a god in bed? I have heard rumors from other girls. You know in this area how well those things spread. He continued. My face dropped at this. I didn't think of him as a player. Maybe I was too naive. I trusted him. And all he was just doing was actually fucking other she-wolves.
We haven't yet. Despite what people think it is hard being his mate, I said. He nodded his head. I understand. In all reality, I don't think so. I don't think anyone can understand except Lorcan and Emma. Everyone probably just thought he was just a picture-perfect alpha and would never hurt his mate. Even I thought so, which was definitely wrong. But I still want to give him a chance like the idiot I am. So, I really did all this? I questioned. The smell of burning flesh hit my nose, and it was like the first time I was seeing this. The body count was huge, and the way they looked after being burnt to death made me want to puke. I am a monster, I whispered to myself. I gulped hard and tried not to let myself cry. This was a lot of guilt to handle at once. No, they are. Trust me. They all used and abused people. Even the females of this rogue pack. He said, with a distaste in his voice. What is your name? He asked. Riven Adams. I answered. Riven? How unique, he said. Then there again it was the gut-wrenching pain, just like the other night. My mark was burning, and my legs almost gave out. But Damon caught me. On time. This can mean only one thing, and that is, he doesn't care about me. His Luna. All he care about the other, she-wolf, who can satisfy his needs sexually. My mate is doing it again. He's fucking that whore again. My insides are burning with pain, betrayal, and one more emotion, and that is rage. I want to kill him. For hurting me. Damon is trying to console me, but I can't seem to catch up with what's he saying. Rhea is howling with pain inside me. I just want his mark to be gone. I want to break all the connections that connects me with him. Riven? Are you okay? Answer me. I finally heard his voice that was full of concern. Yeah, I am fine. Damon? Yeah. I don't want to go back. What? Are you sure? Yeah. But you are the Luna of the pack. Damon, please. I don't want to go back. I'd rather be a rogue and remain here than to be his Luna. I pleaded. Okay. Then where do you want to go? I don't know. Just anywhere but here. Okay. Yeah, but we need to take my truck there. He nodded down to his mother. I instantly knew what he was implying. She was too weak to shift, and that would be a long walk for the both of us. I was thankful that he knew where the land was, because I had no idea where I was since I was kidnapped. Again. Damon laid his mother down in the back seat of the truck with blankets that he had. I huppoed in the passenger seat, and then he started the truck. So, do you think he is worried about you? Damon asked me, referring to my mate. I don't know, and honestly, I don't want to think about it. His eyes widened. Wait, were you in pain right now because he was, screwing with someone else? Damon, please, let's not talk about him. So, how did you end up being a rogue? I asked him, changing the topic. I was trying to divert my mind from all the pain that I was still feeling, or I would lose my shit and kill him. My father was kicked out of a pack once when I was young. He got into fights with many pack members, and he did other nasty things too. So when he was kicked out, he found a bunch of rogues, and they wanted to overthrow the alpha of my previous pack. After years of failing, he took his rage out on my mother and me. He explained. "What is the name of your old pack?" I asked him. "Deniero pack," he answered. "So your previous alpha just let you go with your father to be a rogue?" I asked. "Yeah." He shrugged it off. I dropped the subject, noticing that it might be hard on him. "So what about you?" he asked. "What about me?" I replied. "How did you meet your mate?" He said, continuing to drive on the dirt road. I laughed. "At the hunt, matting hunt. That was the last time I have seen my family, because he demanded that I go with him instantly." I told him. "Yeah, being an alpha like him, he's probably very possessive," Damon said. And I just shrugged. Once again, there was an awkward silence between us. "So what are you doing here? So far away from home?" He broke the silence. I looked back to check on his mother because it was awfully quiet, and she was still breathing, but sleeping. I, trailed off, deciding if I should tell him. I could obviously trust him because he did save my life. That was once again put in danger. Well, I just wanted to run. I was exhausted and frustrated. So I took a run and did not realize when did I cross the pack boundaries and ended up here. I gave him an answer vaguely. Before he could ask another question, we pulled up at the house, which seemed quite old, and I was thankful for that. We both got out of the truck, and Damon received his mother. There was thick tension filled in the air. I walked to the house and took a good look around. It was a simple house. I looked at Damon and waited for an answer. Whenever my father's torture became too much for me, I used to run away. When I found this place, I reconstructed it, hoping that this place will divert my mind. I nodded at him. "There is a bathroom over there if you want. You can go and freshen up." I nodded and walked away. He gave me some clothes in my hand, and I went into the bathroom. I made sure to wash all the dirt and blood off my body, especially from the bullet wound, which was a faded scar now. My sore muscles from the hard, cold concrete were finally able to relax under the extremely hot water. After I was done with my shower, I changed into some pajamas, ready to relax and get some real sleep, even if it was during the daytime. I walked out of the bathroom, and I saw Damon. "Hey." He sounded different. "Hi." I nervously greeted him. He walked up to me and hugged me. I got startled at first, but with time relaxed into it when I realized he was being sincere. "Thank you for everything, for saving me and my mother. I will forever be grateful to you," Damon said while hugging me. "Thank you, Damon. You helped me too. You saved me too. So in that way, we're both even." He broke the hug and stepped away. "What would you like to eat? I was thinking of making us a sandwich. Is that okay?" he asked. "It's more than okay. I'm starving anyway." "Okay." After that, he walked away, and I laid down on the couch in the living room and slowly gave in to the sleep. I woke up in the evening on the couch. My stomach growled, and I was on the hunt for food. I walked towards the kitchen, and someone was making dinner, and my stomach growled like a monster. Damon turned back and looked at me, and I blushed, quite embarrassed. "Good evening, Luna." He greeted happily. "Good evening. Would you like some help?" I asked. "If you wish, Luna," he responded. Please, Damon, don't call me Luna, I requested. I happily helped him making the dinner. It was fun cooking with another person. Soon the dinner was ready. Hey, I am going to set up the table, he said, and I nodded my head, continuing to cook the food. After some time, I finished making the dinner, and Damon came back in. Hey, you can sit down and I'll make you a plate, he offered. No, it's fine, I'd rather help, I said. I could tell he was grateful for my help, and I did not mind eating last. After sitting down on the table, I scarfed down the plate of food, not realizing how hungry I truly was until now. I looked over at Damon, and I could see he has done the same. I took this as the time to explain what happened to me while I ran away. I explained everything from the time I came here to when my mate cheated on me. I felt like I could trust him, so naturally, I didn't hide anything from him. I explained how I want to become a rogue, rather than being with my mate. He had a blank look on his face. So, I trailed off. I just wanted to be sure if he is with me on this. I want to leave this place. I want to leave all of it back. I don't think I can go back to my previous pack too. If Zayden even bothered to look for me, that is definitely going to be the first place. Can I be honest with you? He asked. Of course. You are an amazing person, Riven. He doesn't deserve you. If I were you, I would have rejected him long time ago. Don't worry. I'll help you to get out of this place. Obviously, I can't take you to the nearby packs. He might look for you there. Just in case. I nodded in agreement. Next day, we both loaded our suitcases into the Damon's truck. He quickly ran to the driver's seat and hopped on. I sat in the passenger seat, and Damon's mom was in the back seat. She's still weak, but she's recovering. We took all the necessities with us, because we all know that this is going to be a long journey. Damon started the truck, and we were on the road again. After we got out of the rogues' territory, we decided to head towards the west. We are planning to settle in the Crescent City. Crescent City is a neutral territory. There we can join the Packless. The Packless is a group of werewolves who don't have anyone, so they joined each other and made a small pack. Since werewolves are social creatures, and they need some sort of pack environment and social interaction, even if it is not a real pack. If those of the Packless members didn't have each other, they would also likely turn into rogues as well. Rogues mostly lose their humanity from being alone for so long. Though the Packless don't fit in with the rogues, we also can't call them a proper pack. For one, Packless don't have a hierarchy the way that a pack does. The Packless has a few more experienced wolves that have taken on leadership type roles. Unfortunately, there is only so much they can do without having an actual title. They just live with humans, help each other, and live a peaceful life. I know I should tell my parents at least of my whereabouts, but I can't take the risk. They will never understand. They wouldn't go against Zayden. Most of the packs are afraid of him and his pack, so I can't tell them. I can't risk their lives. Yes, I will come back. When I feel ready. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I promise you, Rhea, I will make him pay for all the pain he inflicted on both of us. I will make him pay for betraying us. I will make him pay for trying to rape us. I will make him pay for hurting us and playing with our feelings. I promise you, Rhea. I swore, and I promise you, Riven, I will stand by you whenever you need me to. If you want to plan a revenge on our ex-mate, I will help you in every way possible. If you want to kill him, and that were even better, I will help you to slaughter both of them in every possible painful way. I didn't know you were such a sadist, Rhea, I said in amusement. Oh, you know nothing. But there's still one thing left to do. And what's that? But there's still one thing left to do. And what's that? You just said ex-mate. For that, we'll have to reject him first. Oh, right. Do it, Riven. I am not afraid of the pain anymore. I am ready. Are you sure? I asked one last time. I am damn sure. I am going to find a new and better mate than him. Just reject him. Okay, here goes nothing. I, Riven Adams, the Luna of Blood Eclipse Pack, reject Zodden King, the Alpha of the Blood Eclipse Pack. And then and there, I felt it. The last string of connection that joined our fate was broken. And strangely, it doesn't feel that much painful as much as I thought it to be. Maybe the last few days have made me immune to all kind of pain. I don't know about Zodden, though. How's he going to feel? But I am glad it's over between us. Now, I just have to work on myself. I have to find out what's wrong with me. I have to find out if I can create fire. I mean, I think I can. But still, I want to be sure. Right now, I just want to enjoy this ride. I was finally free. I could finally leave this hell in my life, leaving behind the person who made it hell. But I was not completely happy. I could only focus on the pain my wolf and I were going through with this rejection. I knew it was coming one day. But I'm glad it doesn't hurt so much. I couldn't let Damon see me going through this pain. Finally, we made it to the airport. Climbing out of the truck, I went to the trunk and grabbed the bags. I pulled them out before setting them on the floor. Thank goodness for roller bags. Once all three of us had our things, we walked to the entrance of the airport. Luckily, though, Damon had his contacts, so he arranged everything before time. Walking through the doors, people all around were walking quickly, some even running, while others casually sat around. Not wasting any time, we made our way to the booth to get our tickets. As we stood there, I could not ignore the fact that my heart still felt like breaking and that I wanted to cry. But I know I had to be strong right now. I could not let anyone see my pain, especially Damon and his mother. Now they are my only pack, and I will stand by them, just like he did. Even when we barely know each, but it feels as if I've known him from a long time. As we stood in line, I felt my tummy rumble. I told Damon that I was going to get something to eat on, while they both waited here. Entering the small little shop, I looked around at all the different kinds of snacks they had, but I could not shake the feeling of being watched. And true to my gut, when I turned around, the cashier guy, who is probably around my age, was staring at me. I admit he was kind of cute. He had dark blonde hair that came up to his shoulders, with soft blue eyes. He was muscular, but still looked skinny. Though I was not interested in dealing with any guys right now. In fact, I was not interested in dealing with any guys for a very long time. I grabbed a packet of chips, a chocolate bar, and a drink before walking up to the counter. I also placed a pack of gum down, just so I can chew it on the plane. I hate when my ears become blocked. As he rang everything up, he decided to speak. My eyes wandered around and zoomed over to the person standing behind an average-looking guy, who was a human, waiting to get ice cream. I squinted at him. He looked familiar, but I don't know where I knew him from. He turned my way, and our eyes met, but then He quickly looked away. "Hey," I said, "what's your name, cutie?" The cashier asked, a smirk present on his face as he looked me over. From his scent, I could tell he was human. I rolled my eyes and did not answer, but that did not seem to stop him. "So, I was wondering if I could get your number?" That smirk stayed as it was. Now only he was leaning over the counter slightly, intentionally flexing his muscles. "No, I don't have a phone, and even if I had one with me, I would never exchange my number with you." I replied sweetly. "Why? Do you have a boyfriend?" The guy asked me, making me want to burst out laughing. I was about to reply, but he continued. "If there is one, I say, you should rather ditch him. I can show you how a real man should be." He spoke so highly of himself, I actually felt the need to gag. The funniest part about this is that he just said all of that to a werewolf who can crush him like a fly. Suddenly, an idea popped up in my mind. "No, actually, I just don't swing that way. And also, I already have a girlfriend." I was trying my best to not laugh. After hearing my reply, the guy turned red from embarrassment. He then passed me my bill as quickly as possible to get this over with. I dragged myself out of the store and soon found Damon, and then we made our way to our plane. As we boarded the plane, the air hostess indicated where all of us were sitting when the plane finally took off. I watched as Damon held onto the armrest tightly. I think he hates flying. So, I took his hand in mine and held it tightly while chewing on a piece of the gum I had bought. Halfway through the journey, my eyes began to close slightly. I decided to rather just sleep since the flight would be long, and if I became bored, I would start to now annoy the living hell out of Damon. "Riven, wake up!" Damon whispered, yelled. I groaned before shoving him away as he breathed in my face. Opening my eyes, I saw that he was in front of me, looking at me worriedly. "May I help you?" I yawned, rolling my neck a bit. "No, you were just whimpering in your sleep, so I thought you were hurt. Are you okay?" He asked, his voice holding worry as well. "Really? I didn't realize that. But no, I am not in pain," I said. "No, I just, actually, you mentioned something about rejection." "Did you reject your mate?" he asked sadly. I know he already knew the answer to this question. Of course, I told him everything about my life. I could only nod at him, not wanting to look at him. "But why? I mean, I know what he did to you. But don't you think you should have given him at least a chance to explain?" He asked, disappointment now making its way onto his face. I felt my anger begin to rise as he spoke those words. How could he believe that I would be so heartless and cruel? How could he think like this? Of course I gave him chance, not once but many times. But he was always so distant and cold towards me. I wanted to shout at him. Instead, I just bit the inside of my cheeks. I sighed loudly, closing my eyes. "I don't want to talk about this right now, please." I begged him before looking down at my hands. He did not say anything but just left me as I was. As I was lost in my thoughts, I heard over the intercom that we would be landing shortly. When we landed, we made our way out of the plane. We quickly got our luggage, then went to go rent a car. Once that was done, we climbed in and drove off to our new home for I don't know how long. When we pulled up inside the city, I couldn't help but gasp, because I thought that Packless were going to be average people, with average abilities and average lifestyle. But all of this is beyond my imagination. We are going to stay at one of the Damon's friend house. Damon told me that he helped this guy to run away from his father's torture. So now he's going to let us stay, for at least some time, until we get settled on our own. His home, no wait, let me rephrase that. Castle standing before us. Driving through the front gate, we drive for what felt like a long time before we finally pulled up to the entrance. There were other members who welcomed us as we made our way to the top of the stairs. Entering his home, I honestly felt nervous as we were about to meet the packless wolves. I am not sure if they are going to accept us here. Are they friendly? What if they don't accept us? There were already so many scenarios were going through my mind. Don't worry, Riven. We'll be fine here, my wolf said. I was at ease after talking to my wolf. The pack members escorted us to the rooms that we would be staying in for the time that we are here. Entering my room, I was absolutely stunned. It was amazing. I was not expecting this kind of gesture. There was a king-size bed in the middle of the room with the softest-looking linen over it, with extremely high ceilings. I was extremely happy when I realized that I did not have to share a bathroom with Damon or anybody like yesterday, because it was awkward. Soon someone came up and gave us the tour of the castle. It was basically a giant maze. I could barely remember where my own bedroom was, though I figured that I will get used to it over time. When the tour was over, they walked us to the Great Hall, where the elders of the packless wolves were. Walking up to the large dark brown doors, I noticed all of the carvings in them. It looked to be a group of wolves howling to the moon. It was truly mesmerizing. The doors creaked open, and we all were ushered in the room. The room was large, and the ceilings were high up, with a large podium in the middle, where they all sat. All of them were dressed in fancy robes, but none of them looked a day over 30. Luckily, they all smiled brightly, which helped to calm my nerves down slightly. They welcomed us and began to converse with Damon while I stood to the side and looked around. I could not focus on them any longer as I suddenly heard a ringing in my ears. Due to the pain and the ringing in my ears, it was hard to focus. Dropping to my knees, I screamed my lungs out as if my flesh was on fire. When the pain finally subsided, I was exhausted. I could barely stand, but still I tried my best to stand straight. When I turned towards Damon and the elders, they looked at me with shock written all over their faces. What's happening? Am I missing something? Elders were shocked, but at the same time they were happy. Turning around slowly, I saw the meaning of it. I thought, when I faced the mirror, I would still be me, but I didn't. When I looked over my body, all I saw was that my hair color had changed into red, and my eyes looked more bright. The nerves of my body, especially my hands, were glowing. Never before had I seen anything like this. And lastly, the thing that chilled me to the core was that my eyes, because they were completely red. That was the last thing I remember before my body gave out from exhaustion.
Slowly, my eyes fluttered open, before quickly shutting closed due to the searing pain coursing through my head. I groaned loudly, slowly sitting up as I clutched my head. Looking next to me, I saw that there was a glass of water, along with a small pill and a small note with beautiful handwriting from Damon, or maybe some other female. This will help with the headache. XOXO. I smiled at the anonymous note taking the small pill with the water. Looking around, I saw that I was in my new room. At first, I could not remember how I had gotten here, but
Then I suddenly remembered seeing my new self in mirror. I am still in shock. This is something unheard of. I checked my body again, but everything seemed normal. As I continued to question everything that had just recently happened, I had failed to notice Damon creeping into my room. "Hi, Riven. How are you feeling now?" he asked with concern, as he came over to me sitting on the chair. That was next to my bed. "Bit of a headache, but not too bad." "How long have I been out?" I questioned, looking up at him with a small smile, trying not to groan from another wave of pain hitting my head and the back side of my eyes. 3.5 days, actually. The elders. They said that this was normal for someone like you. Wait, what do you mean by that? I was nervous. Now something's wrong, and with the looks on his face, I knew he knew. But he isn't going to tell me. He knew something, and this was making me nervous. I could feel my hands starting to shake. Riven, calm down. The elders. They will explain everything. But first, you really need a shower. You really stink, he joked, rubbing the backside of my hand with his thumb softly to try and calm me down. I appreciated him for trying, though it was really difficult, without jumping to conclusions in my head about what the elders were going to tell me.
But I decided to act normal, so I rolled my eyes at him, sticking my tongue out at him. I chuckled, even though it hurt, and watched as he left the room to give me time to get ready. About 20 minutes later, I was finally clean. Walking over to my bag, I saw that it was empty. I walked over to the cupboard and saw that all my clothes were in there. Not all, I mean the few that I packed with me. Maybe that anonymous person did this. I smiled and quickly pulled out a simple t-shirt along with a pair of denim jeans. I got dressed quickly, brushed my hair and teeth. Then I was finally done. As I was about to open the door, I heard someone's voices approaching. There were 2 people yelling at each other when I opened the door. I saw 3 men. One of them was leaning against the wall, while other 2 were yelling at each other, stating how chocolate was supreme to strawberry. Who are they? I thought. The one leaning against the wall looked over at me, rolling his eyes before shoving them both to walk. That did not even stop the argument. He asked me to come with them. As we walked through the castle, or maze as I see it, we finally stood by the big wooden doors once again. I was shaking, that was obvious. I could feel my heart wanting to beat itself out of my chest with how scared of entering this room I was. Rhea tried to console me, telling me that there was nothing wrong with us and that everything would be fine. It helped slightly, but I could still feel my hand shaking. I jumped when the doors began to open. Gulping, I walked in with the 3 strangers. Damon, his friend Ethan, his mother, and the elders stood up to greet me. "Hello, Ms. Riven." They spoke with respect. "Hello," I replied timidly. They all were just staring me as if they were observing me, and I just stood there dumbfounded, trying to guess that why is everyone being like this? What have I done? Am I abnormal? Maybe I am not a werewolf at all. Maybe there's something on my face. Eventually, I gave up on trying to find the answers in my head, while the elders stayed in their position. "Riven, we have few questions to ask you." Sure. What's the name of your parents?" "My father is the Alpha. You must have heard about him. Alpha Adam, and my motherkern is the Luna." "You're lying," one of them roared. Why would I lie about my parents? Are these elders on drug or something? I thought. I am not lying. Why would I lie about them? She's telling the truth, the other one said. Oh, thank goddess. At least one of them is sober. Maybe you don't know the real truth, the first one said. Or maybe the truth you know is actually a lie. The other replied. She's not who she thinks she is, the quiet one said. Hey, I am still here. And what the hell is going on? What truth are you guys talking about? I asked, annoyed. Maybe you need to sit down, little one. We have a theory about you, and if you want to find out, we can help you. But for that, you'll have to sit and relax and hear us out. One of the guys said, that brought me here. What the hell on earth was going on? So being the stupid I am, I did what any normal but stupid person would do. I ran. Granted, I ran to my room, but still I think they got the point. I was scared. I was scared of the truth that they were talking about. I didn't even know that what kind of theory they were talking about. Everything that had happened this week is already too much for me. I cannot handle another shock. I was so stressed that I started crying because of all the negative thoughts that were running in my mind. Maybe I am not normal. This is why my mate cheated on me. This is why my parents were so desperate to send me away on the hunt. I wasn't worthy. I didn't even have a mate. Lying there on the bed, all I could do was sob. Everything is just too much. Why can't my life just give me a break? I cannot handle another shock. Riven. I heard Damon's voice, the same male who was there for me when no one was. I am not sure, but I think that there were few other people too outside my bedroom door. Go away. I whimpered into my pillow, not wanting to see anyone. But they stayed there and kept on knocking. No, now leave me alone. I snapped at them, and I instantly regretted doing that to them. It's not their fault that my life is miserable. Riven, just listen to the elders. It's just a theory. There's also a probability that they might be wrong. We are only trying to help you, other guy said. They are right. I should not behave like a spoiled brat. They are only trying to help me. I sighed, inviting them in. They stumbled in one by one after Damon, as the tallest guy had shoved the other two aside before he rushed over to me and hugged me tightly. I whimpered before I began to cry again. I don't know, but I feel some kind of connection between us. I am scared, guys, I whispered softly, feeling the bed dip next to me and at the foot of the bed. They continued to console me for a while, and distracting my mind by telling me their names and their wolf names. I learned that the tallest one among them is Liam, the bulky one is Kyle, and the serious one is Cole. They are triplets. They said that they were going to be here for me through everything, and somehow I believed them. Soon enough, we began talking about other stuff, and I was thankful that they were getting my mind of all of the drama, though. It had eventually turned serious when they asked about my mate. So, once again, I finally explained what happened with me and the reason of me being here. At first, they were shocked, but after some time their shock soon turned into anger. They eventually started saying that they are going to kick his butt if he ever crossed their paths. Yeah, what he did was crap, but you've come too far, and you're strong. It takes a lot of willpower to reject your mate, especially after you've been marked. You are not worthless, and you're strong. You should believe in yourself, Riven. You know what? I think you should train yourself with your newfound abilities, or whatever the voodoo magic you can do. And then you can kick his AAs. I smiled at them all, and we finally stayed on lighter topics. We were all relaxing before a messenger came in, stating that the elders wanted to see me again, if I was up to it. I chewed on my lip, wanting to say, but Damon encouraged me to do it, saying how they would be there for me like they promised. I agreed and we left my room, heading back to the hall once again. Walking in, the elders were already there waiting just like before. They greeted me. I was not used to such kind of attention, so it kind of felt weird. I am sorry for running away. It was all just overwhelming. I stated and watched as they merely shrugged it off. They led me over to a large dining table and asked me to sit. One of the elders ushered one of the pack member, who had been carrying long, heavy-looking books. He placed them in front of me, and my eyes widened. Riven, like we stated before, it's just a theory. We might be wrong, too. I nodded.
Do you know anything about the witches? One of them asked me. Yes, I do know about them, but I've never met one, I replied sincerely. Okay. Actually, there was a coven of witches that used to live in Town Square in Northern California. They were the oldest and strongest coven. You know, just like every pack has an alpha, the coven have the masters. That coven was called Blue Crystal. Their witches were really amazing with their abilities and spells. When their master, Miss Dupont, died, she was replaced by another one, her youngest sister, Miss Delicia, the one with evil intentions. She wanted to prove that witches are the strongest supernatural beings, better than werewolves, better than vampires, better than any other being on this planet. So, she had the ability to control fire. My jaw dropped when I heard that. What? Do you think I am related to her? I mean, I am not a witch. I am just a werewolf. No, my dear, we are not saying that you're a witch. Just listen to the whole story first, okay? And be patient. I nodded and asked him to continue the story. So, she summoned a demon and made a deal with him. It takes a lot of energy for a normal witch to summon a demon, but because she could control fire, so it was easy for her to summon the demon, as they are made of fire too. She made a deal with him. She asked for his blood in exchange of 50 souls of powerful witches. I gasped at this. So, because she was a sadist, not to mention a power-hungry sadist, she sacrificed 50 souls of witches of her own coven to him. No one dared to question her because she was extremely powerful. She was getting what she wanted, and that's all that mattered. The demon gave her his blood. At first, she was going to use that blood on herself, but it's easy to kill the witches, as they are only human. She thought she should find a vessel, a kind of body that can withstand the demon blood. Then, she concluded, why not use a werewolf body to do that? Because they are hard to control, and they are much stronger. And then, after years of searching, she found one werewolf who had alpha blood in her veins. No one knows for sure who that girl was, or what pack she belonged. But it turned out that that woman was also the mate of Ms. Delicia's son. She was injected with demon blood in her veins when Delicia gave her the blood with other herbs. But surprisingly, nothing happened. Delicia got angry, and she thought she found useless wolf. Her plan of creating the most powerful being was crushed. So, she planned to kill that woman. But her son was already madly in love with her. So, knowing her mother's plan, he ran away with the she-wolf and settled somewhere else. His mother got even more angry on her son's betrayal. She sent men and so many other witches to bring him back. but they always returned empty-handed, she got even more angrier and took the task upon herself. On the other hand, her son did quite a good job hitting himself and his mate. They both were happy together. I think they both were living among humans. It's easy to hide yourself among them. But her son knew that one day his mother would come back and will kill them. He was even more scared because they both were expecting their first child. So he decided to summon a fae, the only beings who can challenge a demon. But the faes are just myth. They don't exist, I said. All of this doesn't make any sense to me. Well, yes and no. What? I asked. Yes, because fae do exist. They just don't exist in this realm. They wanted peace, so they chose to live in a different world. A different realm. You're fae. It's easy to summon a fae if your intentions are pure. So he summoned a fae and asked her for her help. She said she was ready to help them, but on one condition. She will give her part of her soul to that person who was injected with demon's blood. He was afraid because he didn't want to lose his mate and his unborn child. But the she-wolf complied with the fae. The fae was more than happy to help them, so she gave her part of soul. But nobody knew that all of this will affect their child. Again, nothing happened. Her body did not react towards the demon's blood nor the fae's soul, as if it was neutral. So, you do understand what I am trying to say, right? Are you trying to tell me that their baby, he inherited all the abilities? Exactly. Now imagine having demon's blood, a werewolf blood, a powerful witch blood, and a part of fae's soul in a single body. Oh my God, that would actually result in creating the most powerful species on the earth. But what does this have to do with me? Yeah, I can somehow shot fire out of my hands, but what's the connection? Actually, there's a connection. The night their baby was born, they were attacked by Ms. Delicia. Somehow she found them, or maybe she sensed the power that emanated from that child who was born that night. Actually, that child, it was a girl. The couple was actually blessed with a girl, because the girl was too powerful. It took quite a toll on her body. She almost died that night, but somehow her body was vanished from the site. Many people believe that she's still alive. Many people think that she's dead. Others think that the fae who helped them before took her. But no one actually knows what really happened with her. Moving on, Delicia's son was devastated at the loss of his mate, but he also wanted to protect his child. He knew that he won't be able to stop his mother. Somehow he took his baby and ran away from his mother once again. He cast a spell on the baby to hide her powers until she's old enough to control her powers on her own. And he left the baby girl on the outskirts of his mate's pack. That is all we know. We are not sure if the baby was killed. We are not sure if that baby is still alive. We are not sure if the father of the baby is still alive, but my theory says that the alpha of the pack adopted that baby. At least that's what I think. Like we said before, it's just a theory. Are you trying to say that I am that baby? No freaking way. I thought you were going to help me find out about my abilities, but here you all are, spitting out some weird story about a weird baby. I assure you that I am not that baby. Yes, I do have alpha blood in my veins, and I do somehow can shoot fire from my hands, but that's it. That's all I can do. There's nothing different about me. Don't lie, Riven, Damon said from behind me. I am not lying, I yelled. Yes, you are lying. You are different, because I have seen your wolf. Your wolf is not normal. He yelled too. He's right. My wolf is actually different. Rhea is not like any normal wolf. She's bigger in size. She's extremely fast. She's strong, and most importantly, the fur color. You're right. My wolf is different. But still, it doesn't prove that. I am that baby. Well, you wanted answers, and that's all we can give you. We have never seen, in fact, no one has ever seen a kind of wolf whose fur color is blue, or a person who can shoot fire from her hands and your eyes. They can change color too, and can turn completely red. One of the elders said, "What if it's time?" "What do you mean?" Will asked before me. "What if your body is ready to handle your abilities now? Maybe that is why your abilities are slowly coming to the surface. I think we should wait. Maybe with time your other abilities can surface too, right? Or maybe I am not that baby you people are referring to. I am just not normal. Or maybe this is the way of Moon Goddess to punish me. Maybe I am worthless. Maybe that's why my mate does not want me." I almost cried. Relax, Riven. Let's not talk about all this anymore. I am sure it's a lot to take in. You can go back to your room and relax. Or if you want, you can take a look around. You are new here. You can explore if you want. The boys can go with you. One of the elders offered. "Okay," I said. And without turning back, I left the dining hall. Now I am in my bedroom, trying to think if I really am that person. I don't think so. What if I am? But that can't be possible, right? I mean, Ronan is my brother. Karen is my mother. And I think we do share similar traits. We share same hair color, freckles, and facial features. But we do not share the same skin color. Hers is pale while mine is caramel, which is the most obvious difference. I got that feature from my aunt, I think, but no one likes to talk about her. But I have seen her in an old family photo. She was my mother's twin sister. But no one liked to talk about her, as if she never existed. Am I? No, that can't be. I mean, I do have other features that resembles with my mother. But my aunt and mom were twins too. All of this is so confusing. I am frustrated. How am I supposed to find out if I am that person or not? Maybe I should ask my parents directly. But I don't want to go back. At least, not yet. Not until I have all the answers. What if I lose my shit there and something bad happens? I can't even control my abilities yet. I think I should ask the brothers. I need a break from all this.
I stepped out of the heat and into the dizzying array of lights of the He nightclub. The bass emanating from the speakers hit me in the chest as I scanned the room, looking for Damon and the brothers. I walked further into the crowd, hoping to catch a glimpse of them. What the hell? It took me merely 2 minutes to come back from the washroom, and I already lost them. I looked around on the dance floor to check if they are there. Just as I had given up hope on finding them and had taken that first step towards the door, I could hear his voice shouting my name. "Hey, Riven, over here," Cole shouted. Yes, I was here with all of them. I needed a break from all the drama. I was going crazy from all the thoughts running through my mind. So, we all decided to go to a nightclub, which is owned by one of the Cole's friend. I turned around and saw him waving at me from a distance. Even when he is shouting at me, his voice sounds calm and whimsical. I thought you all weren't here, so I decided to go wait for you all outside, I said after reaching him. I needed a drink, and so does everyone else. That's why we all were here at the bar. He said more like shouted because of the loud music. Here's one for you. Damon offered me a drink, and I accepted.
but before drinking, I looked at him. "Oh, come on, drink it. You need it," he said. I had taken a sip, but as soon as I realized there was wolfsbane in it, I passed. Normally, werewolves don't get drunk easily, but wolfsbane got that shut done pretty much in no time. I need to be sober, because I am scared of myself. All of them joined the dance floor while I just stayed at our tables. I miss my family. I have so many questions running through my mind that I can't ignore. And they are the only ones who can help me. I was feeling suffocated, so I decided to go outside for some fresh air. I sighed. I was mentally tired, smelly, and dirty. All I wanted to do was go home and pretend this day never happened. Home? Which one is my real home? My previous pack, Zayden's pack, or this place, with a handful of strangers who promised me that they will stay by side if I am ever in need of help? A tap-like sound made me turn around. To any human ear, the sound was not audible, but I had heard it before. When I was training with my brother. Someone rushing up to you silently and at wolf speed. Someone who was trying to attack you. Less than a second later, there was a fist flying at my temple. My wolf quickly took over. I sidestepped the attacker, grabbing his arm and using his own momentum against him, throwing him into the street. He crashed into a fence that buckled under the impact. "Bit!" The wolf growled, scrambling to his feet. I grinned. Well, I had alpha blood after all. I always trained in my human form with my father, so I knew how to defend myself. I took a fighting stance, quickly sizing him up. He was big, but not very muscular. He kinda looked sacking and underfed, as if someone had been mistreating him, and he smelled awful like sewage and rot. The only thing I had smelled like this was a rogue. But what was a rogue doing this far into the packless territory? I did not get time to answer my question when he launched at me again. I stepped back and landed right into the arms of another wolf. "Got you," flooded into my ear. I gasped as his hot, disgusting breath pricked my skin. The smell alone was enough to make me want to throw up. His arms tightened around my arms and ribs, instantly bruising them, making it hard to even breathe. My screams were soon muffled by a large, vulgar hand pressing roughly against my face. I thrashed in his arms, but they managed to drag me off into a dark alley. "Be still, you bit, and this will be over quickly." The other one hissed, running ahead of us, while my captor was dragging me over to a parked van at the end of the street. It was black with painted windows and looked like something straight out of a horror movie. My heart sank, and every fiber in my body became awake. If we reached that car, I was going to die. My mind went into hyperdrive. I am not dying tonight. At least not tonight. I have so much to figure out about myself. As if finding new revolution, I finally managed to fight back. Just as we passed a dumpster, I lifted my legs with everything in me, and I pushed as hard as I could, launching myself into my captor. He cursed loudly, but his grip loosened just enough for me to get my arms free. I wasted no time. With the elongated claws, I dug my fingers deep into his thigh. He yelled out in pain and finally lost his entire grip on me. I stumbled forward, but quickly regained my balance. A shadow appeared in front of me, but I was in a wild rage at this point. Before he knew what hit him, I launched myself at the rogue, knocking both of us over. "Be ready, Rhea." "Oh, Bit, please, I was born ready." And I smirked at that.
I straddled the rogue and hit him right onto his nose. The crack sound echoes in the silent night, and Rhea purr in my head. I can't transform completely, but I can borrow some of her strength. Next, I claw his left eye out, and his screams fill the night. Rhea, let's leave him. No, I have some internal pent-up frustration that I need to release desperately, and right now he's the perfect source of it. But this area belonged to humans. Someone might see us. No one will. They dragged us here on purpose. Take a look around. Do you see any security cameras? Rhea is right. There were no security cameras around. Even better. I can do whatever I want. But the rogue I was fighting with was already unconscious. I think I'll have to find someone else then. I got up and turned around. Suddenly the hairs on my neck stood up, and my body could sense more rogues around. I raised my nose and inhaled deeply. There are others too. Good. But I am sure they are scared enough to not to come out. Cowards. I snarled. My wolf also joined me in anger. Wait. There's someone else with them. I inhaled once again and concentrated. Oh, damn. Well, you figured it out, Mutt. He came out from the hiding, and my eyes met with his. Vampiress. I was shocked. Grab her. He ordered someone, and 4 cold hands grabbed me from either side. But that's fine, I can deal with him too. The first vampire attacked me, but within seconds I freed myself, and grabbed his head, and rammed it into the trunk of a tree, knocking the first one down. Next, I turned around to give the same treatment to other 2.
Who grabbed me. But the vampire who ordered them to attack me watched everything from a distance without moving from his position. After ripping the heads of rest of the vampires, I turned around to face him.
Well, Mutt, you are quite impressive, I must say. You're feisty, and I like the way you move. He states as he marched towards me. He is just trying to get me worked up. I know. You can go back if you love your filthy life. This is the last chance I am going to give you. I said calmly, well, you killed most of my man. Don't you think it's too late for that warning, sugar? You can come with me willingly, so that no one needs to get hurt. He teased before suddenly swinging at me. The only person who is going to get hurt is you. I quickly raise my arm to block before he swings with the opposite arm connecting with my ribs. Luckily, my ribs are already healed from the previous wound given by the wolves. I stumbled back and dodge another blow. He is swinging at me in such a quick succession that I have to use everything I got just to keep from getting hit again. Suddenly, he kicks out his leg, causing me to fall backwards before he straddled my hips. His fingers elongate into large claws as he swipes at my chest, tearing my top into 2 halves and leaving a long gash across my skin. I almost cried out in pain before managing to block another attack. His eyes darkened as he looks down at me, and the next thing I know, he has grabbed my wrist and has pinned them above my head. I buck my hips and try to kick him to free myself, but it is to no avail. He leans down so that his lips are next to my ear as he begins to speak softly to me. Has anyone ever told you how heavenly your blood smell? I think I may want to have some fun with you before drinking from you. Without any other warning, he licks my neck with a deep, throaty moan. My eyes widened as I realize what he is saying. Rage and disgust immediately starts bubbling up inside of me. Get off, I yelled, and a burst of white light shoves him of me. For a moment, I lie there in shock. What the hell just happened? Did I do that? I shoot up in a sitting position, and my head swivel around to see if there is anyone else around, but it is still just me and that vampire. Unfortunately, My confusion allows him a moment to jump on me again, and he almost hit me on my cheek. I groan in agony and anger. I use my strength to fight him off. I manage to reach for his face and swiftly jab at his eyes. He wails and tumbles off of me. I try to focus on my emotions and concentrate on my anger and rage, and then it happened so fast that it takes a moment for my eyes to adjust and to understand what just transpired. I see roots crawling towards his ankles, and he's flipped onto the ground. I feel the familiar tingling sensation in my body, and I let go of it. His body starts to burn, but surprisingly this time in purple flames. The smell of his burning flesh is nauseating and raises bile in my mouth. The crimson of his blood is splattered around me, but I just turn around and walk away to find the boys. Riven? I hear Will's voice behind me before he is helping me and pulling me into his arms. I squeezed him tightly and bury my face in his shoulder. Kyle wraps a jacket around my shoulders, while Will's hands run soothingly up and down my back as he quietly touches me as though trying to calm a baby. They don't question anything to me, and we all hop into his car to just leave. On my way back, they didn't talk to me. Neither I did. We all were silent. After reaching home, no one asked me what happened. They just hugged me, and we said our goodbyes. Back in the room, I took a long shower to remove the scent of those rogues from my body after changing my clothes into some t-shirt and PJs. I lied down on my new bed, but I just couldn't sleep. I am so screwed. I think maybe the elders are right. Maybe I am that person. So does that mean it's time for my powers to come out? Will I be able to control them? Is this why I am different? Yes, but I think we can control it, Rhea said. Come on, Rhea. Be practical. Is it really possible for a single person to have the abilities of all the supernatural beings? Okay, maybe not all, but most of the powerful ones. Especially a demon's blood and Fae's soul. You can do it, Riven. I believe in you, and it's time that you do too. Do you know what you need right now? What? I asked. A nice long run? Really, we are in a new territory. And on our first night, we got attacked, not to mention from vampires, and you want to go out. You are crazy. Call me crazy, but you're stupid. Why do you always think too much? Just for once, stop thinking. And start having some fun just like me. Okay, whatever. I could really use a nice long run to clear my head. So I packed a bag with some clothes and water and head out towards the door. I get to a wooded spot and let Rhea take the lead. I love feeling the wind in my fur. I'm enjoying my run when I pick up the scent of a large buck, and I haven't had any fresh meat for a while, so we both set out for a hunt. We pick the scent up, and it doesn't take long for us to find her. The deer can't tell I am close to it, because my scent is still masked completely, and I want a true hunt, so I release my scent. And once she picks up my scent, she runs away. I ran after her, and finally catch the buck and eat it until I am full, and then I shift back. There's still a bit left of the buck, and I don't want it to be found, so I thought of an idea. I try to focus on my energy so that I could burn her body, but it doesn't work. I try again and again, but my hands or the fire shooter system inside me is not working. Ugh. Why isn't it working? Suddenly a voice rang in my head. Take control, take control. I got startled at the voice. That doesn't belong to Rhea. Who are you? I asked. No one in particular. I am you. I am a part of you. Take control, Riven. You can do it. I don't understand. How do I take control? Trust yourself. Trust your abilities. Concentrate on your emotions and take control of your power. You can do